The massive ship appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system like a dark mountain floating in space. It was bigger than anything humans had ever built. The alien vessel stretched for miles, its black metal hull covered in weapons that could destroy entire cities. Commander Vexhar stood on the bridge of the ship called Dominion's Edge. He was tall and thin, with purple skin and 4 arms. His yellow eyes looked at the screen showing him information about the small blue planet ahead. Earth looked peaceful and weak from this distance. Another primitive world, Vexhar said to his crew. The reports say these humans barely know how to leave their planet. They have only small ships that burn chemicals to fly. This will be easy. His second-in-command, a shorter alien with silver skin, nodded. Yes, Commander. Our scouts say they have a few space stations around their planet. Nothing that can fight against us. We should have this world conquered in a few hours. Vexhar smiled, showing sharp teeth. The Zephyrian Empire had taken over hundreds of worlds. Earth would be just another easy victory. He looked at the data about human technology. Their fastest ships were slow and clumsy. Their weapons were weak. They had no shields to protect their vessels. Send the attack signal, Vexhar ordered. Let's finish this quickly so we can move to the next system. The Dominion's Edge moved toward Earth like a predator hunting prey. As it got closer, human ships came out to meet it. Vexhar laughed when he saw them. The human fleet looked like a collection of old cargo ships and mining vessels. A few military ships flew with them, but they were tiny compared to his mighty warship. Captain Sarah Martinez commanded the human defense fleet from her ship, the UES Defender. She knew her small fleet had no real chance against the alien monster approaching Earth. But she had her orders. She had to make this look real. All ships engage the enemy, she said into her radio. Fight with everything you have. The human ships opened fire first. Their missiles and energy beams hit the alien ship's shields. The attacks looked impressive with bright flashes and explosions. But they did no real damage to the massive vessel. The Dominion's Edge barely slowed down. Vexhar watched the human attacks with amusement. Their weapons are like insects trying to hurt an elephant, he said. Return fire. Show them what real power looks like. The alien ship's weapons came alive. Beams of pure energy shot out and cut through human ships like hot knives through butter. The first human vessel exploded in a ball of fire. Then another. The UES Defender tried to dodge, but an energy beam caught it in the side. The ship spun out of control as explosions ripped through its hull. Captain Martinez felt her ship shaking apart around her. She looked at her crew, young men and women who believed they were really fighting for Earth's survival. She felt guilty knowing the truth, but she had to play her part. Abandon ship, she ordered. Get to the escape pods. One by one, the human ships died. The alien weapons were too powerful and too accurate. Within an hour, Earth's entire defense fleet was destroyed. Pieces of metal and bodies floated in space where proud ships had once flown. The Dominion's Edge moved closer to Earth. Vexhar targeted the planet's orbital stations next. These were bigger than the ships, but just as helpless. Energy beams reached out from the alien vessel and destroyed each station. They exploded like fireworks against the black of space. Target the planet's military bases, Vexhar commanded. Destroy their ability to fight back. Beams of energy reached down from space and struck Earth's surface. Military bases that had stood for decades vanished in seconds. The beams were so precise they could hit a building without damaging the one next to it. Cities watched in terror as their protectors disappeared in flashes of light. Communication networks across Earth went silent. The aliens jammed radio signals and destroyed satellite systems. Within hours, Earth seemed completely cut off from space. The planet looked beaten and helpless. General Robert Hayes sat in a bunker deep under a mountain in Colorado. He watched the destruction on his screens with a calm face. Around him, his staff looked worried, but Hayes knew better. Everything was going according to plan. Sir, one of his officers said, the fake defense fleet has been destroyed. The aliens have taken out all the decoy installations. They think we're finished, Hayes nodded. Good. Make sure all our people in the cities know to act defeated. We need the aliens to believe they've won. On Earth's surface, the alien ground forces began landing. Large ships came down from space carrying thousands of purple-skinned soldiers. They expected to find a broken population ready to surrender. Instead, they found something strange. The humans they met seemed scared and beaten, but not completely helpless. They didn't fight back, but they didn't run away either. They answered questions when asked and followed orders, but something in their eyes suggested they were watching and waiting. Vexhar didn't notice these small details. He was too busy celebrating his easy victory. His ship sent messages to the Zephyrian Empire announcing another successful conquest. Earth was marked in their databases as defeated and occupied. Prepare the harvesting equipment, Vexhar told his crew. Start taking their resources. Put the surviving humans to work in our mines and factories. This planet will serve the Empire well. But far below the surface, in bunkers hidden so deep that alien scanners couldn't find them, human military leaders were anything but defeated. They watched alien movements through hidden cameras and tracked enemy positions with secret sensors. Admiral Sarah Chen sat in a command center buried under the Pacific Ocean. Water pressure and rock protected her facility from any attack. She looked at the reports coming in from around the world. The aliens were landing in all the expected places. They were doing exactly what human strategists had predicted. Phase 1 complete, she said to her staff. The enemy believes we're beaten. Begin Phase 2. Wake up our sleeping giants. Deep in space, hidden among asteroids and behind moons, things began to change. Equipment that had been shut down for years started coming back to life. Computer systems that had been sleeping began to activate. In the darkness between worlds, humanity's real strength was stirring. The aliens thought they had conquered Earth in a single day. They believed humans were just another weak species that would bow to superior force. But they had made a terrible mistake. They had confused the sheep for the wolves. Earth's real defenses had never been the small ships and orbital stations. Those were just for show, meant to fool exactly this kind of enemy. Humanity's true military might was hidden where no one would look for it, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Vexhar stood on his bridge, proud of another easy victory. He had no idea that he had just walked into the most carefully planned trap in human history. The real battle for Earth hadn't even started yet, but it would begin soon. And when it did, the galaxy would learn why humans had survived every disaster their violent planet had thrown at them. They would discover that sometimes the best defense is making your enemy think you have no defense at all. 3 days passed since the aliens had landed on Earth. The purple-skinned soldiers of the Zephyrian Empire walked through human cities like they owned them. They set up checkpoints and began cataloging resources. Everything seemed to be going exactly as planned for the invaders. Commander Vexhar felt satisfied as he looked at reports from the surface. Human resistance was minimal. The few people who tried to fight back were quickly overwhelmed by superior alien technology. Most humans just stayed in their homes and obeyed orders when soldiers came by. What Vexhar didn't know was that every human he saw was playing a part in the greatest deception in Earth's history. The plan had been decades in the making, ever since humanity first detected alien signals coming from deep space. Dr. Elena Vasquez was one of the humans pretending to be a helpless civilian. She lived in New York and worked as a scientist before the invasion. Now she swept streets and cleaned buildings for the alien occupiers. But her real job was much more important. Hidden in her cleaning supplies was a small device that looked like a normal radio. But it wasn't for listening to music. Every day, Elena moved through the city and recorded alien patrol routes. She noted which buildings they used and how many soldiers were in each group. All this information went to the real human military through secret radio signals. Elena wasn't alone. Thousands of humans across the planet were doing the same thing. Teachers, shop owners, mechanics, and office workers all pretended to be ordinary citizens while gathering intelligence on their occupiers. The aliens thought they were smart for using human workers to repair damaged buildings and clean up debris from the invasion. They didn't realize that every human they employed was actually a spy feeding information to the resistance. In London, a man named James worked in an alien communication center. His job was to carry messages between different alien units. But James had been a computer programmer before the war. While he carried their messages, he was secretly copying their communications and learning their radio codes. Meanwhile, deep underground, the real human military was very much alive. Admiral Sarah Chen sat in her command bunker beneath the Pacific Ocean, watching live video feeds from around the world. Her staff included some of the smartest military minds humanity had ever produced. The aliens are getting comfortable, reported Colonel Martinez, who had survived the destruction of the fake defense fleet. They're not looking for hidden threats anymore. They think we're completely defeated. Admiral Chen nodded. That's exactly what we want. How are our outer system assets? All hidden facilities are reporting ready, said another officer. The shipyards on Titan and Europa have been running at full capacity for 30 years. Our fleet is complete and waiting for orders, Chen smiled. The aliens had scanned the solar system when they arrived, but they had only looked for active threats. They saw mining operations on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, but those looked like normal human industry. The aliens had no idea that those mining facilities were actually massive shipyards that had been building warships in secret. The plan had started 40 years ago when Earth's first deep space telescopes detected signs of an advanced alien civilization. Unlike in the movies, humanity's leaders didn't panic or argue about what to do. Instead, they began the most ambitious military project in human history. The project was called Sleeping Giant. Its goal was simple: make Earth look weak while secretly building the strongest military force possible. If aliens ever came to Earth, they would find what they expected to find: a primitive world with basic defenses. They would never suspect the truth until it was too late. To make this work, humanity had to sacrifice their public space program. All the real ships and weapons were built in secret facilities hidden throughout the solar system. What remained on Earth and in near-Earth orbit were older designs meant to look impressive, but be easy to defeat. The hardest part wasn't building the secret fleet. It was training millions of people to act defeated when the time came. Every major city had resistance cells, but most of their members thought they were just gathering information. Only a few people knew about the hidden fleet and the real plan. Dr. Vasquez continued her cleaning work in New York, but that evening she went home to her apartment and used a hidden radio to send her daily report. Miles below the city, in a bunker that didn't officially exist, her information was added to a growing picture of alien activities. Similar reports came in from every occupied city on Earth. The aliens had superior technology, but they were making the same mistake that many conquerors had made throughout history. They assumed that defeating an army meant conquering a people. General Robert Hayes reviewed the intelligence reports in his Colorado bunker. The aliens were strong, but they had weaknesses. Their energy shields worked well against the kind of weapons they expected humans to have. But human engineers had been studying captured alien technology for years and developing new weapons specifically designed to overcome those defenses. The aliens are using predictable patrol patterns, Hayes told his staff. They're not expecting any real resistance, so they're getting lazy. That will work in our favor when the time comes. On Jupiter's moon Europa, Captain Marcus Torres walked through a facility that officially didn't exist. Around him, engineers and technicians worked on ships that would have amazed the aliens if they had known about them. These weren't the crude vessels that had been destroyed in Earth's orbit. These were warships designed by a species that had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war. The UES Indomitable was Torres's ship, a battlecruiser longer than 6 city blocks and armed with weapons that could crack a moon. It had been under construction for 15 years, built inside a hollowed-out asteroid to hide it from any possible detection. "How long until we're ready to move?" Torres asked his chief engineer. "All systems are green, Captain," the engineer replied. "We've been ready for 2 years, just waiting for the word from Earth." Torres nodded and looked out at the construction bay where 11 other battlecruisers waited in the darkness. Each ship represented the best technology humanity could create. They had been built with one purpose: to show any alien invader that Earth was not helpless prey. Back on Earth, the deception continued. Alien soldiers walked past humans who bowed their heads and avoided eye contact. The aliens felt superior and in control. They had no idea that every human they saw was memorizing their faces, counting their weapons and noting their weaknesses. In Beijing, a woman named Liu Ming served food to alien officers in what used to be a fancy restaurant. The aliens enjoyed having humans wait on them. It made them feel powerful. But Liu Ming had been a general in the Chinese military before the invasion. While she served their food, she listened to their conversations and learned about their military procedures. The information flowed from the surface to the underground command centers, and from there to the hidden fleets waiting in the outer solar system. Every day, humanity's real military learned more about their enemy, while the aliens learned nothing about humanity's true capabilities. Admiral Chen received daily reports from all over the solar system. The secret shipyards were fully operational. The hidden weapons platforms were charged and ready. The real defense fleet was positioned and waiting. Earth's true guardians were invisible to alien sensors but ready to strike at a moment's notice. The aliens think they're the hunters, Chen said to her staff, but they're about to learn that they've become the prey. Begin final preparations for Operation Revelation. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is really capable of. The stage was set for a battle that would change the course of galactic history. The aliens thought they had conquered Earth in a day. Soon they would discover that the real war was just beginning. The first sign that something was wrong came from the alien sensors on the 7th day of occupation. Lieutenant Zektar was monitoring deep space scans from his station aboard the Dominion's Edge when unusual energy readings appeared on his screen. "Commander Vexhar," he called across the bridge, "I'm detecting power signatures from the outer system. They appear to be coming from previously empty areas of space." Vexhar walked over to examine the readings. His yellow eyes narrowed as he studied the data. "What kind of power signatures?" "Fusion reactors, sir, big ones. Much larger than anything we detected when we first arrived. And they're coming online all across the system." This news troubled Vexhar. When the Zephyrian fleet had first scanned the solar system, they had found only small human installations. Mining operations, research stations, and a few orbital facilities around Earth. Nothing that suggested advanced military capabilities. "Run a detailed scan of the Jupiter and Saturn regions," Vexhar ordered. "I want to know what's generating those power readings." As the alien sensors reached deeper into space, they began to detect something impossible. The small mining facilities they had dismissed as unimportant were much larger than they had appeared. What the aliens had thought were simple asteroid mining operations were actually massive industrial complexes hidden inside hollowed-out asteroids. "Sir," Lieutenant Zektar's voice was shaking now, "these aren't mining facilities. They're shipyards. And they're enormous." On Europa, Captain Marcus Torres stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable as his ship powered up for the first time in years. Around him, his crew worked at stations that controlled weapon systems more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen before. "All systems coming online, Captain," reported his weapons officer. "Main fusion reactor at full power. Railgun batteries charged and ready. Plasma cannon arrays warming up." Torres smiled. He had been waiting for this moment for 15 years. Ever since he was a young officer, he had dreamed of commanding a ship like this. The Indomitable was more than just a warship. It was a statement that humanity would never bow to alien conquerors. "Open a channel to the other battlecruisers," Torres ordered. "It's time to introduce ourselves to our uninvited guests." Across the outer solar system, 11 other massive ships were powering up. Each battlecruiser was a masterpiece of human engineering and military science. They had been designed by studying every piece of alien technology humanity could get their hands on, then building something better. The ships had been hidden for decades, powered down and disguised as parts of larger asteroid mining operations. To alien sensors, they had looked like nothing more than industrial equipment, but now they were revealing their true nature. Admiral Sarah Chen watched from her underwater command center as her secret fleet came alive. On her screens, she could see power readings from ships scattered throughout the solar system. Each one represented years of work and billions of dollars in resources. More importantly, each one represented humanity's refusal to give up. "Signal all fleet commanders," Chen ordered. "Begin Phase 3. It's time to decloak." The first ship to reveal itself was the UES Retribution, positioned near the asteroid belt. What had appeared to be a large mining platform suddenly split open like a flower blooming. From inside emerged a warship that dwarfed most alien vessels. Its hull was covered in armor that gleamed like polished silver, and weapon ports lined its sides like the teeth of some massive predator. Then came the UES Vengeance from behind one of Saturn's moons, and the UES Defiance from the Kuiper Belt. One by one, 12 of the most powerful warships ever built by human hands emerged from their hiding places and began moving toward Earth. Commander Vexhar stared at his screens in disbelief. Where had these ships come from? His intelligence reports had said humans barely had space travel capabilities. These vessels were clearly advanced warships, and they were huge. "Sir," Lieutenant Zektar reported, "I'm detecting massive power sources all over the system. It looks like the humans have been hiding their real military capabilities." "That's impossible," Vexhar snapped. "Our scouts surveyed this system thoroughly. There were no advanced installations, but the evidence was right there on his screens. Not only were there 12 massive human warships moving toward Earth, But sensor readings showed that what they had thought were primitive mining operations were actually advanced military facilities. The humans had somehow hidden an entire fleet and the infrastructure to support it. On Earth's surface, the human resistance received coded signals telling them to prepare for the next phase. Dr. Elena Vasquez was sweeping streets in New York when her hidden radio crackled with a message. The eagles are flying. Prepare for sunrise, she knew what that meant. The secret fleet was moving. Soon the aliens would learn that Earth was far from defenseless. Elena continued sweeping, but inside she felt a fierce joy. The aliens had no idea what was coming for them. The UES Indomitable led the human fleet as it moved through space toward Earth. Captain Torres could see the massive alien ship hanging in orbit around his home planet like a dark cloud. Soon he would show that cloud exactly what kind of storm it had stirred up. Captain, his sensor officer reported, the alien ship is turning toward us. I think they've detected our approach. Good, Torres replied. I want them to see us coming. Open a communication channel on all frequencies. The message that went out was broadcast not just to the Dominion's edge, but to every alien ship in the system and through their communication networks to the wider Zephyrian Empire. Torres wanted to make sure his words were heard by every alien who thought humanity was weak. Attention, Zephyrian forces, Torres said, his voice calm and steady. This is Captain Marcus Torres of the United Earthship Indomitable. You have invaded our system and attacked our people. You have exactly 60 seconds to withdraw from Earth orbit and leave our space, or we will show you why humanity has survived every extinction event this galaxy has thrown at us. Commander Vexhar listened to the human transmission with growing alarm. The confidence in the human captain's voice was disturbing. No defeated species should sound so sure of themselves. And those ships? They were definitely military vessels, not civilian craft converted for war. Sir, his tactical officer reported, I'm reading 12 large human vessels approaching our position. They're armed with weapon systems I don't recognize. Vexhar studied the tactical display. The human ships were spread out in a formation that looked suspiciously professional. These weren't desperate defenders making a last stand. This was a coordinated fleet movement by experienced military officers. Impossible, he muttered. Our intelligence said they were primitives. Sir, Lieutenant Zektar interrupted. We're receiving more signals from throughout the system. It appears the humans have been hiding defensive installations all over their solar system. I'm detecting weapons platforms, shield generators, and what looks like orbital defense grids that are much more advanced than anything in our reports. For the first time since arriving at Earth, Commander Vexhar felt a chill of doubt. Had his empire made a terrible mistake? Had they attacked a species that was much more dangerous than they had realized? The 60 seconds Torres had given them were almost up. Vexhar had to make a decision. He could retreat and admit that the mighty Zephyrian Empire had been fooled by a species they thought was primitive. Or he could fight and prove that alien technology was still superior to whatever weapons these humans had developed. His pride made the choice for him. All weapons. Target the lead human vessel, Vexhar ordered. Show these primitives the power of the Zephyrian Empire. Captain Torres watched the countdown timer on his screen reach 0. The aliens had made their choice. Now humanity would show the galaxy exactly what kind of predators lived on the small blue planet called Earth. All ships, Torres broadcast to his fleet. You are authorized to engage. Show them no mercy. The real battle for Earth was about to begin. The first shots of the real battle came from the Dominion's edge. Massive energy beams lanced out from the alien ship toward the UES Indomitable. These were the same weapons that had destroyed Earth's fake defense fleet so easily just days before. But this time the beams struck something very different. Instead of punching through weak human hulls, the energy weapons hit advanced armor plating that had been designed specifically to resist alien energy attacks. The beams scattered and dispersed, leaving only scorch marks on the Indomitable's silver hull. Captain Torres smiled as his ship shrugged off attacks that would have destroyed a city. Return fire, he ordered. Let's show them what human weapons can do. The Indomitable's main railgun fired with a sound like thunder. But this wasn't an energy beam that could be stopped by shields. This was a solid metal projectile fired at a significant percentage of the speed of light. The magnetic accelerators along the Indomitable's spine launched a tungsten rod the size of a telephone pole directly at the alien ship. The projectile hit the Dominion's edge with the force of a nuclear bomb. The alien ship's energy shields, designed to stop energy weapons, provided no protection against kinetic impact. The tungsten rod punched completely through the alien hull, leaving a hole 20 feet wide that vented atmosphere and debris into space. Commander Vexhar was thrown from his feet as his ship shuddered under the impact. Emergency alarms blared across the bridge as damage reports flooded in. A human weapon had just done more damage to his ship than anything the Zephyrian Empire had faced in decades. What was that? He demanded, pulling himself back to his feet. Some kind of kinetic projectile, sir, his tactical officer reported. It completely bypassed our shields. We have massive damage to sections 12 through 18. Vexhar stared at his screens in shock. How had these humans developed weapons that could overcome Zephyrian defenses so easily? His shields were supposed to be invincible against primitive weapons, but the human attack was just beginning. The other 11 battlecruisers opened fire in a coordinated barrage that lit up space around Earth. Railgun rounds, plasma bolts, and missile swarms converged on the Dominion's edge from multiple directions. The alien ship tried to return fire, but the human fleet didn't fight like any enemy the Zephyrians had faced before. Instead of facing them in a formal battle line, the human ships moved in a complex dance around their target. They used their superior speed and maneuverability to attack from unexpected angles while avoiding most of the alien return fire. Captain Sarah Martinez commanded the UES Vengeance, one of the smaller but faster battlecruisers. She brought her ship in close to the alien vessel's underside where its weapons couldn't target her easily. "Fire plasma torpedoes," she ordered. "Aim for their engine section." The torpedoes were another human innovation that the aliens hadn't expected. Instead of trying to overwhelm alien shields with brute force, human scientists had developed weapons that could adapt to enemy defenses. The plasma torpedoes analyzed the alien shields as they approached, then reconfigured themselves to pass through weak points in the energy barriers. Explosions rippled along the Dominion's edge's hull as the torpedoes found their targets. The alien ship's main engines flickered and died, leaving it dead in space and unable to maneuver away from the human attack. But the humans had more surprises. While the battlecruisers engaged the main alien ship, smaller human vessels emerged from hiding places throughout the inner solar system. These frigates and destroyers targeted the Zephyrian escort ships that had been spread out to guard against exactly this kind of attack. The human smaller ships used different tactics than their larger cousins. They attacked in quick strikes, firing their weapons and then disappearing behind asteroids or space debris before the aliens could respond. It was like being attacked by a swarm of angry wasps. Lieutenant Commander James Park commanded the destroyer UES Hornet. His ship was tiny compared to the alien vessels, but it was fast and deadly. He brought his ship in close to a Zephyrian cruiser and fired a spread of missiles designed to confuse enemy sensors. Half the missiles were real weapons. The other half were decoys that looked exactly like the real thing to alien sensors. The enemy ship's defensive systems tried to shoot down all the incoming missiles, but they couldn't tell which ones were actually dangerous until it was too late. The real missiles punched through the confused alien defenses and exploded against the cruiser's hull. The ship spun out of control, its weapon systems damaged and its crew struggling to regain stability. But the most shocking development came when the humans revealed their mastery of electronic warfare. Captain Lisa Zhang commanded the specialized warfare ship UES Phantom. Her vessel wasn't designed for direct combat. Instead, it was built to attack enemy computer systems. As the battle raged, Zhang's team of hackers and programmers launched cyber attacks against every alien ship in the system. They had spent years studying captured alien technology and learning how Zephyrian computer systems worked. Now they put that knowledge to devastating use. "I'm in their navigation system," reported one of Zhang's cyber warfare specialists. "Uploading virus now." The virus was a masterpiece of human programming. It was designed to spread through alien computer networks and turn their own systems against them. Within minutes, Zephyrian ships found their own defensive turrets turning to fire on nearby vessels. Commander Vexhar watched in horror as his fleet tore itself apart. Ships that had fought together for years were suddenly firing on each other as their computer systems fell under human control. His own ship's weapons began targeting his escort vessels instead of the human attackers. "Shut down all automated systems," he ordered. "Go to manual control only." But the damage was already done. Half his fleet was either destroyed or crippled by their own weapons. The others were struggling to regain control of their systems while still under attack by human ships. The human fleet pressed their advantage ruthlessly. They had studied alien tactics for decades and knew exactly how to exploit Zephyrian weaknesses. While alien military doctrine emphasized formal battle formations and honorable combat, humans fought to win by any means necessary. Captain Torres brought the Indomitable alongside the crippled Dominion's edge. His ship's weapons were aimed directly at the alien bridge. One more shot would end the battle completely. "Alien Commander," Torres broadcast on an open channel, "your ship is crippled and your fleet is defeated. Surrender now and we will allow your surviving crew to live." Vexhar looked around his ruined bridge. Half his crew was dead or injured. His ship was barely holding together. His proud fleet was scattered wreckage floating in space. In less than an hour, these humans had destroyed a force that had conquered dozens of worlds. "How?" he whispered. "How did you become so powerful so quickly?" Torres heard the question and decided to answer. "We didn't become powerful quickly, alien. We've been the apex predators of this galaxy for thousands of years. We just kept it hidden until someone was foolish enough to threaten our home." The alien commander finally understood the terrible truth. Humanity hadn't been conquered because they were weak. They had allowed themselves to appear conquered because it served their purposes. The Zephyrian Empire hadn't found easy prey on Earth. They had awakened something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. The battle was over, but the war's consequences were just beginning. Soon every species in the galaxy would learn that the small blue planet called Earth was protected by predators, who had spent millennia perfecting the art of war. The question now wasn't whether humanity would survive the alien invasion. The question was whether the alien invaders would survive humanity's response. The Dominion's edge hung lifeless in space, its hull cracked and bleeding atmosphere. Around it floated the wreckage of what had once been the pride of the Zephyrian fleet. In less than 2 hours, 12 human battlecruisers had destroyed a force that had conquered half the galaxy. Commander Vexhar sat in his damaged command chair, staring at the human ships that surrounded his vessel like predators circling wounded prey. His yellow eyes showed defeat and something else, fear. For the first time in his life, he understood what it meant to be completely outmatched. Admiral Sarah Chen's voice came through every speaker on every surviving alien ship. Her words were calm and measured, but they carried the weight of absolute authority. "Attention, survivors of the Zephyrian invasion force. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Fleet. You came to our world believing we were weak and defenseless. You thought you could take our planet and enslave our people. You were wrong. On the surface of Earth, humans who had pretended to be conquered for a week finally dropped their act." Dr. Elena Vasquez threw down her cleaning supplies and smiled as alien soldiers looked around in confusion. All across the planet, the people the aliens thought they had defeated revealed themselves to be something very different. In New York, London, Tokyo, and every other occupied city, hidden resistance fighters emerged from concealment. But they weren't carrying primitive weapons or planning desperate guerrilla attacks. Instead, they activated military equipment that had been hidden in plain sight for years. What the aliens had thought were damaged buildings were actually disguised weapons platforms. Streetlights that seemed broken were really sensor arrays. The very humans who had served them food and cleaned their facilities had been recording every alien communication and mapping every weakness in their defenses. James, the programmer who had worked in the Alien Communications Center in London, typed commands into a computer terminal that wasn't supposed to exist. Within seconds, every alien facility on Earth lost all communication with their ships in orbit. "Communication blackout complete," he reported to a superior officer who appeared from a hidden elevator. "The aliens on the surface are completely cut off from their fleet." But Admiral Chen wasn't done with her message to the defeated invaders. Her words continued to broadcast not just to the ships around Earth, but through the alien communication network to every corner of the Zephyrian Empire. "For thousands of years, we humans have fought each other on our world. We have perfected every aspect of warfare: strategy, tactics, weapons design, logistics, intelligence gathering, and psychological operations. Every conflict in our history has taught us new ways to destroy our enemies more efficiently." On the bridge of the UES Indomitable, Captain Torres watched as the true extent of Earth's defenses revealed themselves. Weapons platforms that had been hidden in asteroids powered up and aimed their guns at space. Orbital installations that had seemed destroyed during the initial invasion flickered back to life, revealing that their destruction had been carefully faked. Earth's moon split open like an egg, revealing massive railgun installations that could crack a planet. The asteroid belt came alive with hidden fortresses that had been disguised as mining operations for decades. Every piece of space debris in the solar system seemed to transform into some kind of defensive weapon. "My God," whispered Torres's sensor officer. "We've been building defenses for the entire solar system. The aliens never had a chance." Admiral Chen's broadcast continued, her voice reaching alien command centers across the galaxy. "You scanned our system and saw what we wanted you to see. Primitive mining operations, weak orbital stations, and a small defensive fleet with outdated weapons. You never suspected that we had been preparing for your arrival for over 40 years. On distant alien worlds, Zephyrian military commanders watched their screens in growing horror as the truth about humanity became clear. Intelligence reports that had described humans as barely spacefaring primitives were revealed to be completely wrong. The species they thought would be easy prey had hidden military capabilities that surpassed their own. Commander, Vexhar found his voice long enough to ask a question that would haunt his species for generations. "Why?" he transmitted to the human ships. "Why did you let us think we had won? Why didn't you just destroy us when we first arrived?" Captain Torres answered for all of humanity. "Because we needed to know if you were conquerors or explorers. We needed to see how you would treat a defeated population. We needed to understand exactly what kind of threat your empire represents to peaceful species throughout the galaxy." The answer chilled every alien who heard it. The humans hadn't just defeated the Zephyrian invasion. They had conducted a military intelligence operation that revealed everything about alien capabilities, tactics, and intentions. Now humanity knew exactly how dangerous their enemies were. Admiral Chen's voice resumed the broadcast that was changing galactic history. "Your species has revealed itself to be a plague upon the galaxy. You conquer peaceful worlds and enslave their populations. You destroy civilizations that cannot defend themselves. You are parasites that grow strong by feeding on the weak." Around Earth, the human fleet began to form up in a formation that no alien species had ever seen before. It wasn't designed for defense or for formal battle. It was a hunting formation arranged to pursue and destroy fleeing enemies across multiple star systems. "But you made one critical error," Chen continued. "You attacked a species that has never been conquered. You threatened a world that has survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, supervolcanic eruptions, and countless other disasters that would have destroyed weaker civilizations. You declared war on humanity. On the surface of Earth, the fake human resistance revealed itself to be something much more dangerous. Those cleaning crews and food service workers threw off their disguises to reveal military uniforms underneath. The aliens who had felt so superior while being served by human slaves discovered that they had been surrounded by elite special forces, soldiers all along. The few thousand Zephyrian ground troops on Earth found themselves completely outnumbered and outgunned. Human soldiers emerged from every building, every sewer, every hidden bunker. The aliens who had thought they were occupying a defeated planet realized they were actually trapped on a world where every civilian was a potential enemy combatant. "We offer you one chance to survive," Admiral Chen announced. "You will return to your empire and deliver this message. Earth is under the protection of humanity. Any species that threatens our world or attacks peaceful civilizations will face the full military might of a species that has spent 10,000 years learning how to wage war." Commander Vexhar looked at the tactical display showing his few surviving ships surrounded by the most advanced military force he had ever seen. The humans weren't just letting him go. They were using him as a messenger to carry their warning to the galaxy. "Your people will board escape pods and abandon your damaged ships," Chen continued. "We will provide you with one functional vessel to return to your empire. You will tell them what you have seen here. You will explain that humanity is not a species to be conquered, but a force of nature to be feared and respected." The surviving aliens began evacuating their crippled ships. As they floated in space waiting for human rescue vessels to pick them up, they got their first close look at their conquerors. The humans who had seemed so weak and primitive were actually wearing advanced spacesuits and carrying weapons that looked decades ahead of Zephyrian technology. Captain Martinez of the UES, Vengeance, supervised the alien evacuation. She watched as purple-skinned soldiers who had thought themselves superior were carefully collected by human rescue teams. The roles had completely reversed. Now the aliens were the helpless ones depending on human mercy. "Remember this moment," she told the alien prisoners. "Remember that humanity chose to spare you when we could have destroyed you completely. Remember that we are not like your empire. We don't conquer species that cannot defend themselves, but we will destroy any force that threatens peaceful worlds." As the last alien escape pod was collected, Admiral Chen prepared to deliver the final part of her message. This wasn't just a warning to the Zephyrian Empire. This was an announcement to the entire galaxy that humanity had entered the cosmic stage as a major power. "Let every species in the galaxy understand this truth," Chen broadcast on frequencies that would reach every star system. "Earth is not alone. We have allies among the peaceful civilizations you have oppressed. We have technology you cannot match. We have military experience gained from millennia of warfare on our own world." The human fleet began to spread out, taking positions throughout the solar system that would allow them to defend against future attacks or launch expeditions to other star systems. Earth's age of isolation was over. Humanity had revealed itself as the galaxy's newest and most dangerous predator. "We are humanity," Chen concluded. "We are the species that refuses to bow to tyrants. We are the force that will protect the innocent and punish the guilty. Remember our warning, and pray that you never give us reason to leave our solar system looking for you." The single Zephyrian ship that the humans allowed to escape jumped to hyperspace.